Lakers Bucks. I don't know. I like the Miami Heat, and I think it would be the Lakers versus Miami in the finals for the Lakers to win.
They say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But for the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat, they want to be fulfilled by both. They took different paths on the way to the NBA Finals. The purple and gold dominating almost the entire season. The soldiers from South Beach making an inspired run. But they both want the same final stop, the proverbial promised land. For the first time in history, the two proud squads will meet in the last dance, each swaying to its own rhythm, one with a more refined tune, the other with a rougher ditty. Not many predicted that they will meet in the NBA Finals, but if there's one thing the pandemic-stricken season has showed us, unexpected turns only make the voyage even more compelling. So will the title return to the City of Angels, or will the ragtag crew have a storybook ending? Can LeBron James further his legacy? Will Jimmy Butler complete his redemption tour? The questions might be as endless as tomorrow, but in just a few days, there will surely be a coronation. That's the headline on tonight's Sports Page.
The hottest headlines.
The integral issue.
Who will join the pantheon of the great?
What's the outlook of the future of sports?
The game changers.
The history
The
makers.
stories that make sports eternally compelling.
Open the Sports Page.
Well, the Miami Heat finished the series with the Boston Celtics a few days before the Los Angeles Lakers may mark their entry into the finals. Now, we have a few days before the finals actually start in tomorrow by the time you are going to see this. And Dominic Uy, somebody had predicted a few episodes back that the Miami Heat would be in the finals, and we said, what? And we have the Dean, Quinito Henson, to again explain to us, Quinito, what did you see back then that the Heat would make it into the finals?
Well, unang-una, hi Sev, hi Dom. Chamba lang yun. I just felt that before the playoffs, I thought that Miami had very good chemistry, not to mention a very good coach. And I thought that Coach Spo wanted to situate the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference bracketing so that they would have an easier way to make it to the finals. Really, because first I thought if Miami had have played Toronto instead of Boston, I think the Heat might have lost. Because with Toronto, you've got three very versatile centers, Siakam, Ibaka, and Marc Gasol. Those guys will be a match. Any one of those guys will be a match for Bam Adebayo. But against Boston, I saw right from the start, their weak link was the German center, Daniel Theis. He's not an offensive threat. I think Coach Brad Stevens thought that he would be like a Rudy Gobert. He's certainly not a Rudy Gobert. He has no footwork. And Coach Spo found a way to be able to exploit the weakness of Theis in getting Bam Adebayo to bulldoze his way close to the basket. And on the switch on the pick and roll, you saw that Goran Dragic would always be a step or two ahead of Theis on the switch. So either on the switch or if he's going one-on-one against Adebayo, Daniel Theis was just mismatched all throughout the series. He did have one solid game in game number 5. That was when he had a double-double.
Dom, ikaw naman magtanong yan. Quinito, hindi chamba yun. Pinag-isipan mo naman yun. Ikaw naman.
Parang may inside scoop si the Dean doon. Let's go to the Lakers. The Lakers obviously from the start of the season when they got LeBron James, AD, this team was put together to win a championship. Everybody's saying, whoever wins the West will win the NBA Finals. But we saw, especially in the bubble, that it was a rough road for LA. I mean, the haters are just waiting for LA to trip. And we so far from what you've seen in the West, in the playoffs in the West, assess the Lakers in each one of them coming into the finals, are they ripe at this time? Because remember, in the first round of the playoffs, it was sketchy.
Well, as far as the Lakers are concerned, there was a lot of load management that was being done in the regular season. Still, they ended up number one in the league in field goal percentage. But starting the playoffs, they did lose the series openers in their first two series against Portland and Houston. But after losing game one of those series, they went ahead to sweep. The Lakers are poised to win the championship. I think the big factor going for the Lakers is that they've got their head coach playing on the floor. Frank Vogel is the assistant coach. It's LeBron James who's calling the shots. He's the one who's telling the players, this is your defensive assignment. He's the one telling the guys, I'm going to take on the number one scorer of the other team. That's exactly what he did against Murray in the Denver series. He's the one who scolds the players if they don't switch or if they don't take on their defensive assignment seriously. So that's a huge advantage when you have a LeBron James on the floor. And that is really what Miami has to contend with. I looked at the stats of both these teams, and believe it or not, they are so evenly matched in terms of rebounds. Bahagya lang ang advantage ng Lakers. In terms of assists, ganun din. Lakers have the advantage over the Heat in terms of points scored and points scored against. But Miami has a better percentage slightly from 3 points and also a better percentage in free throws.
Does he have an advantage that he knows LeBron so well, si Spo?
Well, that could be an advantage because he doesn't only know LeBron's physical skills and what he can do on the floor. He also knows the mentality of LeBron. And I think that's going to be a plus for Miami because, as I said, if Miami is to win this series, it's got to be very tactical for them. It's got to be a very intelligent game. Unfortunately, for all those Miami fans who are rooting for Coach Eric Spoelstra because he has Filipino roots, it's going to be a very, very difficult road to success for Miami against the Lakers. I think the Lakers are just too strong physically, and I think they have the advantage, or they have at least the antidote to stop Adebayo. And if they're able to stop Adebayo, it'll make it a little easier for the Lakers to go out in the perimeter and take care of the outside bombers of the Heat.
Don?
Well, if you look at LeBron James, he's obviously, everybody will be watching LeBron James. You look at the championships that he's won with Cleveland, with Miami. I mean, this really probably going to be the hardest. Obviously, he's a lot older now. There's a lot more resting on his shoulders. And like I said at the beginning, people want him to fail. And that is extreme motivation for this guy who wants to be the greatest of all time. From what you've seen, from what you know of LeBron James, how do you think he will cope? I mean, he's very, whenever he asks or he's asked questions about this, he's always very, he doesn't really answer straight to the point. But you understand the psyche of a player like LeBron.
Well, he's very determined, that's for sure. And he wants to win a championship with another franchise. I think he'll be one of the few, if not the only player, to win championships for three different franchises. And he wants to be able to give back the Los Angeles fans for all the support and for all the sentimental welcoming of LeBron when he joined the Lakers. So I think he wants to certainly do this for the Lakers. He's very motivated to the extent that he has tweaked his game. In the regular season, LeBron was number one in the league in assists, averaging 10.2 feeds a game. And, that's incredible. Of course, if you have someone like an AD to pass to, you're very confident that when you release the ball to your teammate who is open or who can be made open because of their plays, that if you're LeBron, you wouldn't mind giving up the ball. But that's the way LeBron is. No? I think he's looking at the weapons that he has in the Lakers arsenal, and he's seeing that maybe he won't have to score as much. And in the playoffs, he's averaging over 8 assists a game. He's averaging about 10 rebounds, and he's still not the number one scorer of the Lakers. It's still AD. But, they're running neck and neck. Both of those guys are averaging over 50 points a game. And that's why I'm saying if Miami can do something to be able to control or limit one of those two guys, they have a chance. If they can if they can put one of them into foul trouble, and I think, the way this series is coming along and the way Bam Adebayo has been playing, I think Dwight Howard may not be a match for Adebayo. He may be strong physically to protect the rim, but Adebayo is going to attack him from medium range. And Howard will not have the footwork to stop him from coming in. Adebayo is just too agile. So I think AD is going to be playing the number 5 to stop Adebayo. If that happens, then the Lakers will lose a major piece in their perimeter offense because AD gives them a mismatch from the outside. Plus, if Adebayo is very aggressive in attacking the basket, he could put AD into early foul trouble, which could be very bad news for the Lakers. So many things can happen here. The mismatch that LeBron can generate for himself, playing either 3 or 4, is also something to watch for. I think Miami is going to play zone. I think they're going to zone a lot more than man-to-man. They will want to keep the Lakers away from the paint. They want to shrink that shaded area. They want to make sure that the Lakers do not have easy points inside. But at the same time, they must be aware that if they're playing zone, they need to be able to control the rebounds. They need to be able to make sure that they have the advantage off the boards when they're playing zone. I also think that the Heat must stop the Lakers' transition offense. And the Lakers love to score easy baskets on the run. So which means they have to make the Lakers fight hard for the rebounds because that's where the Lakers also generate a lot of fast breaks. That's something Miami will need to address. They cannot afford easy baskets from the Lakers.
Okay. And he has just gotten started.
To sports pages. But let's talk about how difficult it will be for the Lakers. If you look at the Lakers, LeBron coming from Miami, wanting to win a championship now for the Lakers, wanting to cement his legacy, the Dean, but against Pat Riley, someone who knows him very well. Someone who, like you mentioned earlier, someone who knows his psyche. What are the 2 points? Basically, it's starting just 2 points that he needs to be able to handle himself, but also his teammates. We all know AD first time in the NBA Finals.
I think there's so much drama in this series, precisely because of what you mentioned, Dom. Pat Riley coming from the Lakers, and then the relationship or the soured relationship between Pat Riley and LeBron. As far as LeBron is concerned, I think it's important that right from the start, they make a statement. It can't be like the Portland or the Houston series where they gave up game 1 and then they scrambled and made sure that they won the next 4 straight. Against a team like Miami, you give them a foot inside the door, watch out. So I think the first thing that LeBron and his supporting cast must be conscious of, they've got to make a big statement in game number 1 and put Miami on its heels right away. I think that's very, very important. I think number 2, Laker pride. I heard LeBron in one of the victories against Denver saying that he would have liked a game to be won by the Lakers at this for the fans. I think the Laker fans are long overdue. The Lakers have not been in the NBA Finals since 2010. That was when they beat the Boston Celtics for the championship. For the Lakers, I think LeBron has to show his leadership more than ever in this series. I've said earlier that LeBron's game has matured because he has sacrificed his offense to get his teammates more involved in the distribution of points. But if you look at the stats, and I have it right in front of me here, LeBron and Anthony Davis are averaging a combined 55.5 points a game. And the Lakers are averaging 113.9 points a game. So that's 50% of what the Lakers are doing. There's only one other player in the Lakers roster averaging in double figures, and that's Kuzma. And now he's coming off the bench. So, I think there has to be something more than just 2 players delivering the goods in this final series. No matter how good LeBron is, no matter how good AD is, they've got to be able to get some quality minutes from the others. Rondo, KCP, Caruso, Those guys have to come forward. Dwight Howard, even JaVale McGee, Danny Green, a lot of them have playoff experience. A lot of them have finals experience. And that kind of chemistry is what Coach Spoelstra is banking on for the Miami Heat to win. That same kind of chemistry is what the Lakers must show to be able to seal this.
My turn. What role does the memory of Kobe Bryant play in these finals? Will it be a factor? Will it be a motivating factor for LeBron and the Lakers to win the title?
Steph, that's a big intangible. As far as the Lakers are concerned, my second point earlier that I mentioned, that the Lakers want to do this for the fans, I want to be able to extend that point to say that they also want to do this not just for the fans, but also in memory of Kobe Bryant. When AD hit that commitment and conviction to spill over on the court, and they feel that if somehow the other team matches them statistic by statistic, play for play, the Lakers will then have the edge because they have that spiritual conviction to be the best team in the NBA this season because of Kobe.
Boy, the intangibles, Dom, seem to be stacked in favor of the Lakers. We'll talk about Miami in the next body, but boy, the Lakers seem to have the edge, Dom, no?
I think, there's even an article that I read earlier that one of the things that LeBron regrets is not being able to have a lunch or a dinner with Kobe Bryant before he passed. Because one of the first text messages that he got when he finally committed to play for the LA Lakers was, "Welcome, brother," which is Kobe to LeBron James, when everybody was still doubting, do we need LeBron? Is it the right choice? And also that was definitely big for LeBron. So I agree with Quinito that they're doing this for Kobe, and especially if the leader in LeBron James is leading that and looking at that and digging from there, it's going to be very difficult to stop the Lakers.
So Quinito, 5 games for the Lakers, that after a strong statement in game 1, do you think the Lakers will simply roll over Miami here?
I think this could be over in 5 games, maybe to stretch it to 6. But, health will always be a factor. Remember that there was that one game in the Denver series when AD hurt his ankle. There was Paul Millsap turned his back, and then he landed poorly on Paul Millsap's foot, and then he twisted his ankle a little bit. I'm talking about Anthony Davis. So I don't know whether that will be aggravated, especially if we see a matchup between AD and Adebayo. I think if that happens, AD will be severely challenged because Adebayo right now is a man on a mission. It's a man possessed. But he was at his best playing against a serious mismatch in Daniel Theis. I don't know if Adebayo can be as aggressive and can be as productive against an AD. But that's why the NBA Finals very, very unpredictable. You might say because of the health factor, because of the mental issues. But if you were to just look at the stats and man-from-man matchups, you really have to give it to the Lakers. And while Miami will be in there fighting and scrambling, I think the Lakers have the edge in terms of getting everyone participating in what LeBron wants to happen on the floor.
Okay. Dom, we have so much more to talk about. We want to focus on Miami when we return, Dom, correct?
Yeah, that's definitely something we're going to be talking about. The Miami Heat when Sports Page returns.
They're extremely well coached. So there's no surprise that they've had such a successful postseason run. Very impressed with what they've been able to accomplish, beating.
That's who we've been all year long. We've had a lot of different contributors and different leading scorers or multiple guys in double figures. That's just how we're built. We're not a team that, for better or worse, it doesn't mean anything. It's just we don't have a team where somebody's going to score 50.
The boys from South Beach surprised the entire NBA this season with their performance. So for tonight's That's What They Said, we asked, who is your favorite player from the Miami Heat? Renzi James Ligo. Jimmy Butler because he has left his villain persona. A great leader and a great person on and off the court. Love his hard work as well. Joanna May Molina. Duncan Robinson. Splash. Just want him to succeed. I want him to realize his full potential with the Miami Heat. At Jedediah 937. Udonis Haslem, 17-year veteran with the Heat. Reynan Pino. Kendrick Nunn, the next Dwayne Wade and the future beast of Miami. I know he has a bright future ahead of him. Just give him time. Dean, a lot of people are talking about home court advantage. Who has the advantage or who has the disadvantage in this setup?
Well, Dom, I think neither team has an advantage or disadvantage because of the bubble situation. I think the Lakers, however, might draw more energy from the Staples Center home crowd. But I've also been to the games at the Miami Heat, the home court, and their crowd can also be very boisterous. But all things being even now, I think the home court will not make a difference. What will make a difference here is how the players execute on the floor. Miami is a very determined team. I picked the Lakers to win this, but I'm hoping I proved wrong because my heart tells me that I'm for Miami, except that my head tells me that the Lakers will win this.
I want to talk about Butler. I mean, look at how he has changed. You talked about how LeBron changed his game, passing a little bit more. You look at Butler, he's on his fourth team in 4 years. And people were saying he's not a good teammate. But you see what he's done here in Miami. Dwayne Wade convinced him to come to Miami. They're now in the finals. What do you think he needs to do for Miami to be able to overcome the Lakers?
Well, I think he has to play a leadership role. And he's also sacrificed his offense a lot. He also has a tendency to miss easy shots. So, I question his focus. We know that he played a lot of years with Chicago, and then he went to Minnesota, he went to Philadelphia, and it seems that he's found a home at Miami. They're calling him the perfect fit for Miami. As you said, it was Dwayne Wade himself who convinced Butler to join. I think if LeBron is the leader for the Lakers, Butler has to also establish himself as that kind of leader who will sacrifice himself for the benefit and for the good of his team. He could be the finals MVP for all we know if the Miami Heat wins this. Who knows? Miami might be able to steal this. They are the underdogs. LeBron, of course, is the best player on the planet right now, bar none. I felt that he should have been the most valuable player. Giannis, they voted him the most valuable player. No, he may be the best player of that season, but he wasn't the most valuable. The most valuable player in the NBA is LeBron James.
Okay. Since you're both analysts, I'll bring this to a close. First, Dom, your prediction, your call for the series.
Lakers in 6.
Quinito?
I agree with Dom. I think this could be Lakers, maybe even in 5 or 6. But, I'm hoping, in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping that Miami can pull this off. I really want to be proven wrong. I think the Lakers should be able to win this, but Miami has surprised so many of us.
Dom, ito naman si Quinito, hindi pa chamba-chamba to. Pinag-iisipan ni Quinito yan. He got it right on the top of the nail. Ano yan? World Cup?
Yeah.
Dinala mo talaga para ipakita. We'd like to thank Quinito Henson, who always provides us with his deanship view of the finals. What's that? Your
Lakers championship t-shirt.
Okay, thank you again, Quinito, for joining us. And of course, Dominic for joining us. But wait, let's do our final look. There are 2 words that will always put a smile on people's faces here in the Philippines, and they are NBA Finals. And with a bunch of storylines presenting themselves as discussed by Quinito and by Dominic here, this Lakers-Miami Heat battle is priming up to be an enticing one. That's an understatement. So many stories to tell. We have the Kobe Bryant angle, of course, the culture-imbibing Miami Heat having a fairy tale ending, LeBron James facing his former team, Anthony Davis and Jimmy Butler playing in their first championship, and so many more with these young, new faces providing new life into the NBA. We'll have so many stories, and we'll get back to each one of them, and we'll bring back Quinito and Dom to talk about them here on Sports Page. In behalf of all of us, thank you for joining us for our NBA Finals preview here on Sports Page.